the public views a salesperson as a wolf. However, it just so happens that we're nice wolves who want to help you, not eat you. Do you know what I mean? You just don't know that yet.
Welcome to the Disruptance Podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric Forney and Michael Bounds.
All right, every week on the show, we aim to disrupt the way real estate agents and entrepreneurs think about their business and life. And this week, we want to disrupt the way you think about lead generation and scripts. And what we're going to talk about today is how lead generation and especially how scripts are overplayed and tired. And yet everyone is still trying to teach scripting in our business. And today we want to disrupt why that's the 1990s of real estate lead conversion. And so who better to talk about that this week, Mike, than the great Dale Archdekin. And, everyone wants to know, Dale, why Mike and I are so cool and so wildly successful. Okay, actually, no one has probably ever said that. But, the one person we credit that to is for you. Right. And so Mike and I actually were both coached by you and definitely owe a lot of our success to you. So I guess we'll start with the formal introduction of who is Dale Archdekin.
Yeah, no, actually, I'd love for you guys to just keep talking about how great I am. Can we do that for the first 10 minutes or so? That'd be awesome.
Let's take the next 10 minutes, talk about how great your hair looks today, and then we can talk about how great you are.
Thing, I woke up like this. It was an accident.
That's right.
Forget about it. So I'm Dale Archdekin. I'm the founder of Smart Inside Sales. We're well known for our scripting and dialogue training course called Conversion University. I like to say that it's a higher level of lead scripting, dialogue, conversation that we teach to agents and ISAs. And it was really born from running high-level ISA departments where your ISAs, the companies are spending tens and tens of thousands of dollars on leads every single month, lots of different marketing channels, lots of different sources. You've got a very expensive ISA department made up of the only paid salespeople in a real estate company, right, with a base salary. So they have to produce, they have to convert at a high level in order to make all of that endeavor profitable. I started out cold prospecting expireds for sale by owners. I was one of the top expired and for sale by owner listing agents in my market at the time. And so being actually in the streets, and the funny thing is, the reason we're talking about old school scripting, as we were joking in the green room, is that when I was selling real estate, I was in Mike Ferry coaching, right? I was in Mike Ferry coaching. I did their scripts. I did what they told me to do. I said the things they told me to say, and I didn't like the conversation. The lead usually didn't like the conversation, but I ended up selling real estate. So even if you do it in a way that's uncomfortable for everybody and is ass backwards to the way that anybody communicates with each other today, you can still make things happen. I'm not bagging on their company. I'm saying they helped me be successful by teaching me a process. I then afterwards went, and as I'm running and I'm teaching salespeople, I started giving what you discover as a top salesperson over time is that you depart from those kind of scripts. You depart from that formula. You start to understand how to have a natural conversation with people and how to get on the same side of the table with them, how to discover what they really want and give it to them, even though they're saying no to you right now about how you want to deliver it, or who's going to deliver it, or when you're going to deliver it. But if you can figure out what they really want at the end of the day, a top salesperson, really experienced salesperson, can massage that conversation there. So what I sought to do is take what the expert salesperson actually does and be able to condense it down to teach it to newer agents and ISAs, or even teach it to experienced agents and ISAs who just hadn't learned that way before. So that's where we developed Conversion University and my company, Smart Inside Sales. And so that's what we focus on.
There's so much good stuff in there, Dale. So when you said that basically that, I'm gonna paraphrase this, that sales scripts are awkward, right? Is everyone, especially new agents, always says how uncomfortable they feel paraphrasing, repeating, trying to use scripts. And the biggest aversion that I think that agents have in lead generating is how they sound or how they feel when they lead gen. So can you use your sales process and sales models for brand new agents, or is that a 400 level course where new agents maybe don't have the base for it?
Here's what we do. And this is something that we've discovered is we typically will teach, we do teach some scripting to newer people that don't have any experience. But we also teach them the concepts behind what's the structure to a comfortable conversation. So we will teach them, and we're pretty strict, or not strict, but we're pretty adamant about teaching you an intro. Here's how you enter a conversation on the phone. Here's how you initiate or carry on a dialogue via text or email, right?
Can we get some free coaching? What's that free intro sound like?
Absolutely. Okay, so here's a basic website registration script that we use, and this one has become common, and we started this, and it sounds like this. And I'm going to use what I call a salutation before anybody jumps on me about it, which is like a how are you, how's your day, whatever. That's a salutation. So I'll do this with you real quick, Eric. Ring.
Hello.
Hello, Eric. This is Dale Archdekin with Whatever Realty. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Great. Hey, it looks like you registered on my website to look at homes for sale. Are you planning on buying in the next few months, or are you just window shopping at this point?
Right now we're just kind of window shopping. I just saw an ad and clicked on it with that one cool looking house.
Okay, great. Now that was my intro script, and I'll break it down for you. And I'll also give you a very simple question to ask here. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just like it's fascinating that there's a script to that, right? Because
that's
just a conversation to me.
That's a conversation, exactly.
Yeah.
Here's what makes it a script. I'll point out why it is a script. We're very specific about, I use the same word that you use to answer the phone. I mirror and matched you. I used your name assumptively. I told you who I was, and then I used a salutation, which is how's your day or whatever I said, right? That's the pieces of script, and then the script continues after you answered. And that script was, this is what you did, this is why I'm calling you, and this is what I want to know. And I gave you two choices. I gave you permission to tell me no, or to tell me that you had plans to purchase, which is what I want you to do, right?
It's a decision tree. It's a decision tree. And then your script is just based on the yes or no answer. It's a great way to do. It's the way it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all scripting, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like a natural conversation. It's not weird. It's not uncomfortable, and it's straight to the point. There's no games. There's no dicking around. Hey, I know I'm a salesperson. We all know you don't want to talk to a salesperson. We all know that I make this funny analogy, and hopefully I don't get called out at any point, but like us salespeople are like cops. Nobody wants to talk to the cops until you need them, right? Generally speaking.
Right.
Salespeople aren't bad, cops aren't bad, but I generally don't talk to them unless I need their help. The same thing. So let's be straightforward. Hey, I know this is a sales situation, and that's where key part is, do you want to say no to me? Because what salesperson who's trying to make me do something I don't want to do in their right mind would give me permission to tell them no up front? They don't.
Yeah. You strip the energy out of the of trying to ladder up to yes, right? By giving them the option to terminate the call early. If they don't take that opportunity, now they've already committed themselves to having the remainder of the conversation with you.
Yeah. And even if they say, you notice that I said, or are you just window shopping, right? Which is the no they want to give you. And you said, yeah, we're just window shopping. That's not the end of the conversation, everybody.
Of course.
I just gave him the opportunity to say no. We got his rejection out of the way, and then the conversation continues on. And I'm going to ask a present tense question. If somebody says just window shopping, and we give like 3 options there when people need guidance. So one question might be, oh, great, Eric, do you currently live in the area, or are you relocating here? Another option could be, got it, Eric. So do you currently own, or are you renting? Another option could be, oh, okay, just window shopping. No problem, Eric. What neighborhoods are you interested in? These are 3 present tense questions that anyone can answer for you, and it continues your conversation on.
Yeah, I love that. So I think there's a couple things to unpack from that too. One of the mistakes that I see agents make, especially, is when they're prospecting, is the name assumption part. It drives me insane, and maybe I inherited that from you. But when people ask if this is the person who owns the home at 123 Main Street, it drives me bananas, because you immediately know that it's like a sleazy call that you don't want to say yes to, right?
Right. They clearly identify themselves as being a salesperson who doesn't know who that person is.
Absolutely. And you coached me this. You have three strikes against you. The first is you're getting getting a phone call from someone that you don't know. The second is that they don't recognize your voice. And then when you come in there and you don't know their name and they are, they're going to hang up on you. So that is one trick that I have implemented and I still use to this day. I'm assumptive when I'm making my phone calls.
Oh yeah, look
Absolutely.
at it this way. I take this lesson from debt collectors. Do you think debt collectors ask if you're Eric? Every person they
No.
call is Eric. Hi, Eric. No, this is Susie. This is not Eric. No, you're Eric. You owe us money. Where's the money, right? I
Yeah.
know it's you.
Yeah.
You got to prove to me it's not you.
And what a mindset difference though for the debt collector versus the real estate agent, right? Is if you took the you owe me money mindset as a real estate agent,
Right.
it gives you such a different willingness to have that conversation. But
Yeah.
nobody approaches it that way.
Yeah. Listen, I want to tell you another funny story. I don't watch sports. I don't give two shits about sports. I don't know anything
Yeah.
about sports. I'm lucky I recognize the difference between the balls in which
You
sport.
look like you might be one. You might have been like the sixth man on an NBA team or something. So this is surprising. Go ahead.
Really? That's crazy. Oh, but I appreciate that. So somehow my number, somebody must have been pissed at me during my years of prospecting, put my number in with one of those Vegas betting places. And so every like 3 months, I would get a phone call. Hey, Michael, blah, blah, blah. We got this line about a game, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't gamble. They're like, yeah, right. All right. How much action do you want on it? Right. And I'm like, no, really, I don't. And like, everybody says that. Okay, here's what I got for you. Right. I'm like, oh my God, I can't get out of this. Like, these guys are like, if you could act that way, that assumptive, they're just like, yeah, okay. So I got this game versus these people, right? And they just won't, they don't take no for an answer. Like, they should be selling cars, but so that kind of approach, right? Hyper assumptive makes a difference.
So that's one thing though I want to jump on too though is the idea of like not taking no. I think we probably agree is that the concept of like overcoming objections, right? Or like having like objection responses for people. I'm not personally a fan of them. And I assume that you're not either. Tell me your philosophy on how to handle objections.
So what we've discovered, and you'll discover this if you think about it and you talk to people, is that when somebody says, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do it this way, or I'm not going to do it at this time, or I'm not going to do it with this person, that's basically all your objections fall into one of those categories, right? Or a mixture of them. What they're actually saying is they're saying yes to a different time, a different way, a different person, a different approach. So in objections, what I train people to do is, you're hearing no. I want you in your conversation or your questions to figure out what they're actually saying yes to and see if you can give that to them, right? Just in a different way, or in a different time, or by a different person, or in a different manner. So that's where we look at objections differently from having like a paragraph where you make somebody wrong and you try to logic trap them.
So I wrote down like objections are a misframed yes.
Exactly.
Basically, you've just not given them the box to put their yes into.
Yeah.
And
They're
so then in
saying
that,
yes to something else. You don't know what it is or how it is or who it is.
even if that yes is waiting, right? Or
Yeah.
even if that yes is not making a decision, or the yes could be any number of things, right? And so
Yeah.
how do I then figure out what box to put it in?
Let me give you an example. Let's use one of the hardest objections to deal with. And this isn't a condition, everybody. So we have to understand condition versus objection. A condition is I have no money and a 4 credit score. That's a condition. Okay, we're not fixing that. But an objection is, hey, I'm going to list my property with my sister who just got her real estate license. Okay, so that's an objection. So what we hear is, no, I'm not going to list my property with you, real estate person. What they're actually saying yes to, so it's not a no, it's a yes. I'm saying yes, this person is saying yes to listing my property in a way that's going to support my sister, and I get to work with someone that I love and trust, right? That's what they're saying yes to. Okay, well, now I have to position it in a way that I can capture that I can give them, I can sell them what they're buying. They're buying, list my property, support my sister, work with somebody I love and trust, right? So this is just off the cuff, and again, it's one of the most difficult objections that you'll run into. I would have to position it something like, hey, Michael, that makes perfect sense, man. We actually pride ourselves on partnering with other real estate agents in our market. And in fact, we're the only company here that really supports our competitors as they start their businesses. If I was able to partner with your sister so that she could be involved in the transaction, she could learn our ways of selling 300 to 400 homes a year and really jumpstart her career immediately. And we can all work together to help you net the most money possible and really take some stress off of her plate. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Absolutely.
Okay, now, will you get a yes to that? I don't know. But
Yeah.
when I
I've
say
used
partner,
it before and it
you
worked.
use it worked. Wait, say it again. Please, that was a great testimonial. Say it again.
It has. I worked listing, and the guy was really apprehensive because he had a friend that was in real estate, was brand new, and I said, "Hey, I'll pay you." You know, I told him I'd bring him in. I'd partner with him, and he didn't join our brokerage, but I got the listing and I paid him,
Nice.
a little spin off of it. So
Yeah, a referral fee. It's simple, right? But but Michael, if you had done what the traditional companies teach and you had said, "Hey, do you really want to risk the success of your sale on an untested real estate agent and potentially damage your friendship?" What kind of answer do you think you would have gotten? Would you have gotten the listing doing it that way?
no, yeah,
No,
no, yeah,
that's bullshit. That's what they teach.
yeah,
That's what gets taught in standard crapology, right?
yeah,
So it doesn't work that way. Figure out what that person's saying yes to, sell them what they're buying, and you're going to get much closer to that yes that you're looking for.
yeah.
So in order to overcome that objection, I define the yes, right, or the inverse, right, is kind of what you teach is follow the no, right, and when you follow the no, you get the yes,
Yeah.
and then I heard you say make them right,
Yeah,
right, like
absolutely. Nowhere in there did I say it was stupid that you wanted to work with a newly licensed person who had a personal relationship to you, because that's not the way you're thinking. That's not the right way to go about it. You're right in what you're trying to do. All I'm doing is I'm trying to give you what you think you're already going to get and offer you more, better, cheaper, faster, easier on top.
love it. Is that the hardest objection to overcome, the
I
family
would
or
say,
I know a guy?
yeah, I would say that would be one of the hardest objections to get any movement, to get anything other than a no, because a lot of times the answer that you're going to get to that, no matter what, is let me talk to them first.
Yeah,
And that becomes then you have to get real crafty, right? Where you're like, hey, maybe before you talk to them, you should be fully prepared with all the questions that they might have for you. Why don't we meet for 20 minutes first, like tomorrow if you have time, and then go talk to them and you two can make a decision, right? So I have to get a little more crafty and I got to be like, oh no, don't call them yet, right? You talk to me first.
yeah,
So yeah, that's one of the more difficult ones to deal with.
yeah. You got to try to almost erode trust in order to get the yes for even for that meeting or for that appointment. I would
Right.
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do agents struggle with from a conversion perspective, other than just like picking up the phone and taking the action? Because we know that that's like step one, right? So what else do you encounter that is one of the biggest hurdles for agents?
I would say that when they first encounter resistance, like that first no that they get or that first objection, like getting the balls up to stay in there and stay in that conversation and not run away. And then if they can do that and they can stay there, then they sort of go through a progression. I mean, obviously, unless they work with us, but they'll typically go through a progression where it's like, oh, I'm going to stay in the fight and I'm just going to try to get you to say yes in spite of your no, or I might close into the face of your no, even though I haven't changed any factors of the conversation, or I'm going to try to just pitch you immediately into your no. And again, I haven't changed any factors of the conversation until they grow to a point where they start, people will do the techniques that we teach, but usually they've been selling for 10 or 15 or 20 years before they discover those things naturally. We take those things that those high level salespeople do naturally, we turn them into a teachable thing that shaves the learning curve off for agents.
How long is that learning curve? Because what I heard you say is you have to unwind your like 10 to 15 year programming of doing it inefficient. And the same thing maybe with an agent who's newer. They've got to learn the like foundation. How long to achieve Dale Archdekin level of mastery?
Usually within about a year of working with us. So there's some quick things. They get some quick wins, like the script we started working with. People can emulate that in one session, right? They can parrot it back to you in one session, but you won't hear them perfect it in their real conversations with people until you've practiced it a few times with them, and then you've made them listen to their conversation. Then you start to see it creep in, and they can get the intro. And then there's the meat of your conversation, the discovery, who, where, when, why, what, and how much. And then you get to a point where you can now start handling objections and unpacking them. So people progress quickly, but I would say after about a year of working with us, you can emulate or mimic back to us those concepts that you showed on that poster that I give people.
Yeah.
It takes about that long for you to hear it inside their conversations with real people.
Hey, I have a question for you. I know one of the things that really helped me going through being coached by you is the energy. This is a contact sport, so the more contacts you have, the more likely you are to get to the ultimate goal. But ultimately, getting those contacts takes energy out of you. The scripts, for lack of a word, the way, the technique, the way you do, the way that you make these phone calls helped me with that. Helped me conserve that energy because it's more of a conversation versus having a script. You're trying to overcome objections. You're trying to sell everybody. So tell me, is that the key, or does other agents, are they getting those results as well?
Why are you holding
Yeah.
out on great advice with like that too, by the way, Dale? Like that's really good. And like, but I yeah, that's really good. Is all of the weight of trying to like hit the outcome of that script goes away. To your point, Mike, I love it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. The energy that you're talking about, Michael, is when we shift our perspective from trying to win or trying to be right, and the other person is wrong, but we shift it into the perspective of I can't wait to talk to the next person to figure out what problem they're working on solving and how they've solved it inefficiently or ineffectively and how I can do it better for them, right? But in order to do that, I got to find out who you are, how you think, what you're trying to get to, and how you're trying to get there, right? It's just problem solving. So it takes it from adversarial to you working on these fun puzzles with wild and crazy people out in the world.
Dude, that is super zen of you, Dale. I didn't realize how empathetic and zen like you were and and your conversion approach. Because really, what I heard you say is like you're taking the perspective of like, hey, my job is actually just to like be a steward of the public. Right? It's not
Yeah.
actually just calling to help serve you in this conversation, not
Yeah.
to actually get from my initial point of the script to my desired outcome. You have a
Yeah.
desired outcome, but there's no weight attachment to where the conversation goes.
Here's what I've been able to do is help people, those really like empathetic people, and I think a lot of women tend to be this way, where they're like, they really want to help people, but they look at interruption marketing or interruption sales, like what they're doing, where they call a lead who doesn't expect it, or they have to follow up with somebody who said they didn't want to be followed up on, as negative, as a negative impact, right? As like, this is the opposite of what they want to do. They want somebody to come to them and say, I need your help looking at houses, or I need your help understanding this. And that's fantastic when it happens, but you're going to pay $300 to $400 per name to make that happen, right? And you're still going to have some sales skills. So to be able to take those people who are highly empathetic and do not want to interrupt people, I use an analogy. I tell them that they have to imagine that they are an emergency room nurse, okay? You work the ER as a nurse. When people come stumbling in the door, bleeding from some orifice or some puncture wound or whatever it is, you have to ask them questions. Do they want to answer your goddamn questions, or do they want to be fixed? They don't want to answer any questions right now, okay? But you have to ask them questions, or you're going to screw up their care and they're going to die, okay? So when you talk to these strangers, who say they don't want to talk to you, who act like they're annoyed that you're speaking to them. You're that emergency room nurse. You're ultimately there to help them, but you're going to have to put them through a little segment that they're unhappy about. Okay. Now go pick up the phone and make it happen. And it works for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you
I'm sorry, Eric. I didn't mean to
go for
step
it, bud.
on you. Like, so from the perspective when I'm making phone calls, I'm just trying to decide who wants their blessing. Buying a house is for someone is a blessing, right? So I'm just
Yeah.
calling and I'm just trying to identify who wants their blessing. That's all. And
Yeah.
so that I'm able to pick up phone calls even or pick up the phone and have phone calls because just think I just left the closing. The people were really excited at that closing and they were really happy. They were sellers and they made a lot of money. And if I wouldn't have picked that phone up a couple of months ago, they would not have had that blessing.
Yeah. What people have to understand is, yes, the public views a salesperson as a wolf. However, it just so happens that we're nice wolves who want to help you, not eat you. Do you know what I mean? You just don't know that yet.
You know, it makes me think though too, Dale, that really like a process or this conversation framework and dynamic also works when real estate agents are trying to recruit and grow their team and their business. That um, talk to me about how somebody could apply that in conversations in agent to agent dynamic.
Oh yeah, man. So agents are absolute growing your team, recruiting is the same thing as lead generation. Absolutely the same thing. There is no difference. You need to have a farm. You need to water your farm and touch on your farm and love your farm. And generally speaking, your cold calls are not going to be well entertained or received. And so that's one way of doing it. But if you can do the farming and the relationship building and you can bring value to people over time, they will come to you. And as you become more and more successful, more business, i.e., more agents, will gravitate toward you naturally. It absolutely it is a universal law of nature. It works the same as business.
It's the same and sellers as well. If you get all you have to do, you can find it. You buyers, you can identify a farm and you can lead gen to sellers, and then you can also, if you're trying to build your team and grow, you can do the exact same thing. With estate agents. What's a
Yeah.
script? Give me an example of a script if somebody wants to build their team. What would your just a little snippet, the intro? How would you make that call?
Well, let me ask you what the scenario is. Am I cold calling somebody out of the blue in my industry who doesn't know who I am, or set it up for me?
Hey, you're cold calling. Uh, you're somebody in your office um, says, "Hey, give this. I just did a co-op deal with this real estate agent, and I would really like to get in business with them."
Okay, great. So there's no script to it. It would probably sound like ring ring, Michael.
Hey, this is Mike. Hey, hello. How are you?
Well, actually, let's do it. So I'm going to call you. You're a real estate agent in your
Okay.
market. Ring, 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 Michael.
Hello.
Hello, Michael. This is Dale Archdekin with Whatever Realty. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm really busy. I'm about to walk into an appointment.
Oh, absolutely no problem. That's fantastic. I heard you're killing it out there. And in fact, I heard such a raving review from my teammate so and so that I wanted to personally call you and tell you that I really appreciate professionals like you in our industry, and you're raising our profession as a whole. So thank you for doing a great job with them on that deal over on whatever street.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. By the way, we're absolutely always looking for talent, special talent like you. If you would ever be interested in having a conversation to see if my company might be able to help you achieve and surpass your own goals, I'd love to talk with you about that.
Awesome. Well, I'm not really looking right now, but I really appreciate the phone call. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. No problem. Here's one other thing that I do. I do like to have a coffee with other people, other real good high players in my market, just so that we can collaborate and share best practices. Maybe I can give you some things that we do at my company. I can learn some things from you. Would you be willing to meet, say, Wednesday or Thursday next week for a
Love
quick
it.
coffee for 15 minutes?
Sure. Yeah, love it. Love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made
The
an ask.
same thing.
Same thing, right? Come from, listen, I'm going to blow some sunshine up your ass and make you feel really good.
You're so good at that too, by the way.
What's that,
Well,
Eric?
you're so great at blowing sunshine up the ass. Like, I hope you have that on your business card.
Head sunshine, dude. But listen, everyone, when's the last time you could get mad at somebody who told you how fantastic you were?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
So lead with that. Even if you can't stand this person, believe me, they will automatically like you. And be genuine. I'm not like lying or anything. I'm playing the role. I'm imagining that that's what actually happened. That my agent said this person was a great agent and that they did a great job on the other side. And so I went with it, man. Like they want that. And I made the quick pitch. Hey, I want to see if I can help you take achieve and surpass your goals. And he said, not right now. Perfectly fine, man. That's like circle prospecting, right? The 99 people that you call to ask, hey, do you want to sell your house, are going to say, not right now, right? That's what they're going to say. So just know that that's going to happen, no problem. But I'm going to make a connection with this guy, see if I can bring value to him because he's in my farm. He doesn't know this, but he's in my farm. And I'm going to stay in front of this guy, and I'm going to keep impressing him with my company and with value until he says, I think I'd like to row on that ship as well.
So Dale, so anyone who's listening, who is interested in learning more about what you do, which is, take average real estate lead generation and conversion and really make it ninja 400 level skill set, right? Or the person who's looking to grow their team and wants to figure out how to scale lead generation and lead conversion for their team. You have conversion, you have coaching. Tell me about everything that you offer as part of your lead conversion empire.
Yeah, so we focus on either the agent and ISA level with their scripting, sales, training, foundational stuff, like foundational and high level sales skills for the agents and ISAs. We also then focus on leadership because if you don't have strong leadership, accountability, and structure, you aren't going to have highly productive agents or ISAs. And so we help teams scale and organize and, improve the accountability and production of their teams so that they can scale and they can achieve what they want, even to the point where they can get out of production, which is what a lot of our clients are focused on doing. Having a company that can produce 200, 300, $500,000 in income, $1 million in income without the team leader having to open the doors or go on the listing appointments.
And so they can do that with your company a myriad of different ways, right? So you tell me about everything that you guys do so that everyone can understand on the listener side what different options are available to them, because maybe they're a brand new agent and they're not ready for one-on-ones with you, or maybe they're at that leadership level. What all are the kind of tiering and different value
Sure.
props?
So under Conversion University, which is scripting, dialogue, training, most of the stuff that we're talking about here.
That's like a scalable package that a team leader implements for their entire team or for themselves even.
Yes, absolutely. So you can be an individual and come to us. We have a group environment that will teach you Conversion U, doing live training with a specialist just like this, listening to your calls, role playing with you in a group environment as a one person, two persons. So that's great for like your individual agent or a small team where there's a couple of agents, or even you've just hired your first ISA or whatever it is. You put them into group. Or we have a team or brokerage version where you can have a dedicated trainer that teaches these concepts and these techniques to your team. And that's generally better for like a 4-person team up to like a 15 to 20-person team. Beyond that, we can still have a dedicated trainer. It's just that the format changes a little bit because you can't be as high touch as we are with that many people. So that's Conversion U, scripting, dialogue. We've got group, and then we've got dedicated trainer. And then on the business scaling, I missed the ISA part. If you want to hire an ISA into your company, or you've hired an ISA and you can't figure out why they're not productive, or if you have done it and wasted a lot of money at it and you want some real help, we can help you specifically hire and train ISAs to support your sales team, and you can scale that too. So we do that in a dedicated environment as well. Then we have business consulting. So if you're a team leader and you're doing well, you've got a reasonably profitable team, or even if you're breaking even and you want to get to maximum profitability, you want to scale, you want to be able to scale yourself out of production, that would be a consult, we would be doing consultation with myself and with other people in our industry who have done it and are doing it currently. So those are the three different levels really that people can come to us for.
I love that. So really, it's regardless of where someone is experience-wise, you've got an offering for them. But it's not the tired, played out real estate coaching that you get in a box, right? It's not the um, the fast food of real estate agent coaching. It's
No,
highly specific on fundamental skill sets that drive tons of revenue.
I say there's
yes,
a lot of candy out there. You're serving steaks. Like what you
yes,
do is really like meat to the bones. It's good.
yes. Let me tell you, this is the way that we work. It's my philosophy that if you can get your sales training and your lead generation and conversion down to a really highly profitable level or consistent level, and you can get enough people recruited in and into those systems, you can be out of production and you can hit all of your goals and everything else can suck, right? As long as your lead gen, lead conversion, and your support for your clients is there and you have a positive culture with your team, you can achieve what you want to achieve. Can I help? Am I the expert at how to structure your assistant's day? No, right? Admin side, whatever, right? Bookkeepers, I can help you make sure that you have a P&L and I can show you whether or not you're profitable or lead you there. But there's a lot of other soft stuff that we don't get into. If you can get the sales, conversion, and support down, you will have a profitable company.
Dale, I think if I could be a spokesmodel for the Dale Archdekin School of Hard Knocks, I think when you and I started coaching, I think I was at like 120 or so closings. Um, and we're looking at like pace wise, we should hit 650 next year. And
Nice. That's beautiful.
and I think when we coached a couple years together, I think we at least 2x, if not maybe a little more. Maybe it was
Yeah, I think we
3.
at least doubled your production
Yeah.
while we worked together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You kept the
that's
wheels. You kept the wheels on the car. It was. I mean, truly, like it was the first time that I had really had to have any leadership role in real estate, and so there was a lot of need to have coaching on a weekly basis from a leadership perspective, from a systems and operations perspective, and then trying to duplicate what I did. Right, just because
yeah.
I've been in your camp all along in that I don't think that real estate agents should have scripts and should have these fancy slick presentations. I think it's all a conversation and needs analysis like we talked about. And so being able to figure out how to duplicate that, I think I'd still be trying to figure that out if we didn't coach together.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, you could sell the pants off of anybody when I met you, but being able to attract, train, support, and help other people to do the same, like teach them what you do, is a really hard thing to do. It's I some of the best salespeople that I've ever worked for could outsell me by 3 or 5 times, right? Because I'm not the world's best salesperson, but I am one of the world's best trainers, and I can teach other people, which is a different skill set.
Yeah.
And if you want to take your business, if you're a $10 million producer or $5 million producer by yourself, do you want to go to 20 million, 30 million? All you have to do is multiply yourself. And taking that and multiplying yourself while you're still in production is really a challenge. And so you give so much clarity around and you're able to take steps. So again, I had a short amount of time, but you gave me so much clarity in that amount of time that I don't know where I would be either. So kudos to
Yeah,
you on that.
you're also an amazing salesperson, and being able to translate that to other people is just the difficult part, right? Teaching you, Michael, how to give boundaries and give structure to the other people around you so that you can achieve your goals is what we worked on.
And I think we could talk for days. This is a topic that I know the three of us are passionate about, right? Is improving the professionalism, the sales skills, and really the fundamentals of leveling up what a real estate agent does. I know we talk about it way longer than just this podcast, but I want to be mindful of everyone's time. So where can someone find out more info about you, Dale?
Very easy to find. So our website is smartinsidesales.com. I'm Dale at smartinsidesales.com. And if you have Facebook, you can find us easily. If you have YouTube, you can find us easily. My name is kind of, out of the ordinary. So all you have to do is Google my name, or find, you can email me, find us on social, follow us. We pump out a ton of content. I have a podcast called Cash Call that I do in the Lab Coat Agents group, where my co-host and I are literally like playing real conversations from salespeople and breaking them down live for listeners to check out. So we're easy to find.
Dude, I think Lauren listens more to you on podcasts and on your cash calls than she listens to me in my podcast. But
Listen,
no shade.
my wife follows other people. My wife doesn't do anything I say, man. Like, that doesn't even happen.
Yeah.
She'll do
I know
the
you.
opposite of what I say just
Yeah.
because I said it. So
Yeah, she's
I
in real
just said
estate
that.
too.
I just just said that exact same thing. Didn't you just hear me?
that's
Am I
what
speaking?
that's what team leaders say when they bring me in, right? First couple training sessions, they're like, "God damn it, I tell them that every single week." All of a sudden, they have an epiphany now because you said it. It's just because it's somebody else.
All right, Dale, man, you're the man. So everyone go and look for Dale and his training. He's easy to find, and tons of amazing content on leveling up your business. smartinsidesales.com.